Now, as we turn our attention to music, let's take a look at the top 5 single releases on ebuzz.ie.
In at number 5 this week is The Script with Superheroes. Moving on to number 4 is the new girl group GRL with Ugly Heart. At 3 is the collaboration of Nicki Minaj, Ariana Grande, and it's Jessie J's track Bang Bang. In at 2 we've got Meghan Trainor with All About That Bass. And still at number 1 is Robin Schulz, Lilywood and The Prick with Prayer in C.
Now on the Entertainment Buzz, we're going to take a look at some new album releases, and joining me is Cloud. First up, Cloud, we've got Ella Henderson. The new album's called Chapter 1, but when did she come to public prominence?
Well, you'll know her from the X Factor in 2012. She was only 16 then. She wowed the judges. Mel B was visiting in her first audition, so she actually sang in front of Mel B all those years ago. She sang a song that she wrote herself called Mist, and it was about her granddad who just passed away, so she was causing a lot of tears way back then. But she was really impressive on the live shows, and when she went out in a sing-off against the winner, James Arthur, there was a bit of shock around it because she was one of the leading contestants that year.
And the first single off Chapter 1, Ghost, it had a remix as well. But it's mad to think that this was breaking records on its release.
Yeah, it actually made a bit of Irish history. It was the first number 1 in the combined streaming and sales chart in Ireland, so that'll be in the history books forever. She's also the number 1 in the UK. I think she's kind of proven that the X Factor can still produce some pretty decent pop stars.
And how would you sum up the sound on the album?
I think it's kind of like Leona with attitude is how I describe her. She does what she does best with the big ballads, but there's a lot of fun in here too. She's still only 18 years old, so there's some songs that have, she could dance along to, and then there's also the big whopper ballads in there as well.
Now, next up we've got Jessie J, third album called Sweet Talker. Now, since The Voice, she said, I need to concentrate on my music career.
Yeah.
So do you think she's got a lot to prove with this third album?
Definitely. I mean, her first album was like, a smash hit everywhere. Then I think maybe she got a little distracted with the job on The Voice and then all the appearances around the Olympics, and she seemed to be just everywhere. The sales reflected that. Album 2 was not as successful for her, so yeah, she cut down all the other jobs, went straight back into the studio, fully focused on this album, and yeah, I think she's really trying to prove herself with this one.
And Cloud, what have you thought of the singles released from the album so far?
Well, the first single, Bang Bang with Ariana Grande, is just huge. It's a worldwide hit, number 1 in like tens of countries around the world. And she's about to release a new single with 2 Chainz, where she's kind of channeling a bit of Britney, lots of heavy breathing in that one. So I reckon that will be quite a big hit for her as well.
Right, now Robin Schulz, he's a producer, remixer who's really been building a profile for himself in the music industry of late. But for those that wouldn't have heard of him before, tell us a little bit about him.
You would know him because he's, like you say, he's been remixing for ages. Prayer in C was actually how he came to prominence first. He got his hands on a single that was released a couple of years ago by an Israeli folk group, and Israeli-French folk group, and he didn't have any permissions, and he made it a free download, and obviously it exploded in the clubs, and then they got a deal, and then he was forgiven, obviously, because they were working together. And yeah, it's just an absolute smasher. You'd also know the song Probs, Mr. Probs Waves.
Yes.
That's also him.
All right, so he's behind that too. All right, so he's been a busy man, he has, all right. And in terms of the sound on this particular album, like, is this the type of album that you could stick on getting ready for a night out?
Yeah, it's kind of laid back. It's quite he does delicate remixes. There's no big womps. I mean, you're not going to offend anyone putting this on. It's the kind of album I think they'd put in cocktail bars like all over the world. It's a mixture. Half of it is original music, half of it is remixes. There's remixes on there of Coldplay songs, like Lee songs. But yeah.
Is there some hits on this one, do you think, or is there plenty of misses?
It's kind of a mixture. I think those 2 big ones, Prayer in C and Waves, are the 2 big ones. But yeah, it's an all right album. I think it's probably pretty much straight down the middle.
Grand stuff. Cloud, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.